Newscast right now with breaking news.
Every child, every person in that building is a victim and will be a victim forever. And these types of trauma don't just go away.
And we begin with breaking news. A student and teacher are among the 3 people killed after a shooting at a school in Madison, Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us here first at 4. I'm John Carter.
And I'm Siobhan Bryan. Madison police say the shooting happened at Madison Abundant Life Christian School just before 11 this morning. Investigators say at least 6 others were hurt. 2 of the victims are said to have life-threatening injuries. Neighbors described the chaos they saw at the school as police responded.
I saw groups of kids coming out of the school in groups into the church sanctuary, probably as they were in lockdown, and clearing the building and slowly taking out the kids bit by bit by bit.
Officials say the gunman, a teenage student, died from a self-inflicted gunshot.
All right, well, you're likely to have seen them driving around town. Folks who are so into Christmas and holiday celebrations, they've actually wrapped their cars in Christmas lights.
But a number of folks are asking online, is that even legal? Well, that's why we have WBTV's fact check. So we sent our Jason Puckett to find out. So Jason, what's the answer?
Well, it turns out the answer basically is dependent on what the colors are and where those lights are located on the car. So we asked this question to a number of local law enforcement agencies, and we're here at Union County Sheriff's Office right now to get the answer. We want to show you an example here, sort of a perfect example of what we're talking about. This car shows some of those folks embracing the holiday spirit on the roads. We've seen dozens of cars like this in recent weeks, and it turns out there actually are some laws about this. Now, North Carolina law doesn't specifically mention Christmas lights on cars. What it does mention, though, are flashing lights and red and blue colored lights. People are not supposed to have those on their vehicles because they can make them look like an emergency vehicle. Lieutenant James May here at the Sheriff's Office explained it a little bit more.
No, you're not supposed to technically wrap your car with flashing lights or blue or red lights that are pointing in a forward direction. However, we understand that it's Christmas. People are having a good time. They're trying to celebrate this time of the year. So more than likely, I can say for around Union County, you're not going to have any trouble as long as you don't blend in with an ambulance or a fire truck.
Yeah, so you heard there. Lieutenant May also joked that they're not trying to be Grinches right now, so they're not out there actively looking for this, and they haven't made any arrests or intend to pull anyone over for those Christmas lights. What they did ask, though, is that folks with those lights be aware they can be bright, and that can be distracting or potentially even blinding to folks, especially late at night. So be considerate was what he asked. We'll have more on this story coming up in a little bit. For now, though, here live in Monroe, Jason Puckett, WBTV, on your side.
Jason, thank you. Right now, Rock Hill police looking for a driver on a deadly hit and run. It reportedly happened last night on Celanese Road near I-77, sometime before 6:40 in the evening. Officers say they found a man lying in the roadway who appeared to have been hit by a vehicle. In our next half hour, our Ron Lee was able to sit down with detectives as they work to identify the person who was hit.
All right, I want to turn our attention to the weather right now this afternoon. We're giving you a live look out from our HD tower cam at the Charlotte skyline. Some gray skies out there right there. Cloudy day, temperatures in the mid-50s. So let's bring in meteorologist Rachel Coulter. And Rachel, those clouds sticking around for the rest of the day?
Yeah, especially for some of our northwestern counties. Right along that I-40 corridor is where we've seen some of the thickest cloud cover, and it is still lingering, impacting temperatures big time. We're only sitting in the upper 40s from Statesville out towards Hickory and out into Morganton. And then down towards the I-85 corridor, if you're listening in from Charlotte, we saw a little bit of the thinning and lifting of that cloud cover that was really around until about midday today, and that's allowed temperatures to warm into the mid-50s as expected. Meanwhile, we've had sunshine in our southeastern counties, and because of that, temperatures are running in the 60s. So a little bit of a range out there across the area, and that's going to depend on what you expect as we continue through the rest of the evening. Temperatures just going to be in and out of those low to mid 50s, likely dry. Heading out the door tomorrow morning, mild at best. Upper 40s, we're going to end up reaching the 60s, if not right around that 70-degree mark tomorrow afternoon. But this warm up that we're expecting tomorrow, carrying on into Wednesday, short-lived. A look at that 7-day forecast straight ahead.
All right, thanks, Rachel. Well, right now we are fact-checking a story that's been dominating social media for the past few weeks. We're talking about the numerous drone sightings that have been reported across a half-dozen northeast U.S. states. In New Jersey, authorities released a heat map to track the drone sightings. Well, now local officials are urging the federal government to give them more control over the skies. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says the federal government has deployed additional resources and personnel to address the drone sightings. And WBTV's Michael Warwick spoke with an expert who explains why there is so much concern over these sightings. He says it's certainly out of the ordinary and has caught the eyes of federal officials.
Literally, there's one right above us.
Clusters of drones appearing in our country's northeastern night skies. The flying objects now spotted in 6 states across the East Coast.
Stick it back here to us.
JT Patton runs Flyover Drone Company in Concord.
It's just like a regular tool, right? If it's in the right hands, it does amazing things. If it's in the wrong hands, it can do silly things.
A licensed drone pilot, he says large 8 to 10 foot wide drones that people in the Northeast are reportedly seeing can't be bought by ordinary hobbyists. However, drones can be mistaken for being much larger than they really are.
Yeah, there are drones that are that big. Are they on your shelves at Best Buy? No, they're not there. I know that there's a lot of scare tactics right now of drones because drones can be scary, and I totally get it. In regards to New Jersey, we don't know what it is. But if it's from us and on our soil and take off from our soil, we should be able to pick it up.
It's what modern-day drones can do that JT says would be cause for concern if in the wrong hands. He's mastered their ability for beauty shots.
It's really cool to see photos that come out and you're like, oh, wow, that just looks completely different than what I thought it was going to be.
But the unexplained activity along the northeastern coast is unusual and why a number of state leaders are demanding an explanation.
It's a bit embarrassing that given the length of time and the number of sightings, that we don't have information.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be the
That was our Michael Warwick reporting. Now, going back to the discussion of shooting the drone down that some lawmakers have brought up, JT says because of their batteries, that would be a dangerous risk to the people below.
So if you're a pet owner, you'll want to hear about a scam that's going around. The Charlotte Animal Care and Control Center says they've learned about a scam with calls targeting pet owners who may have lost their animals. The center says scammers call pretending to work for Animal Care and Control. The scammers tell people their pet has been found and is at the shelter in need of urgent medical attention. That's when the scammers ask for credit card information. It's important to note the agency says they will never ask for payment over the phone. And the only way to claim a lost pet is in person at the shelter. So if you get one of these calls, just hang up and contact police.
New at 4, 3 people hurt after an SUV crashed through several businesses at a strip mall. What authorities believe may have caused the crash. Plus,
2 years after Diana Kojikari reported her daughter missing from this neighborhood, we sit down with the grandmother of the girl who called Madalena her best friend. The haunting conversations that she plays back in her mind still to this day coming up.